Okay, so some of you have asked questions about fear, the different kinds of fear, and how should we respond? And the key word there is respond as opposed to reactivity. Let me explain, there's a big difference. Okay, one kind of fear, the first kind of fear, kind of healthy fear, right? We feel a certain threat from the inside or the outside, mostly from the outside. Historically, in terms of survival, we stand up, our shoulders go back, and our hands come out, and we're ready to tackle whatever that is. We're going to lean in, we're going to get grounded. If we've had really good self-care, body, mind, soul, system healthy, responding well, this is going to be a 0 to 3 or 4 out of 10 in terms of adrenaline and cortisol and high blood pressure and heart rate, and all the energy is going to go to us responding in a really gritty and grounded way. So we feel grounded and we're alert and we can tackle what needs to be tackled. And of course, the key is to keep ourselves in that realm. If we get past a 5 out of 10, the threat can sometimes 5 to a 7 or 8 can really put us into a complete overwhelm, panic attacks, anxiety, adrenaline, cortisol levels over the top running through our system. We are now hallucinating. We're going back into our back 40 about these fears that we've had. Given our traumas and our history and the real triggers that have happened in our life and things that, even that we're aware of or unaware of, but we're flighting and freezing it in a disproportionate level to the fear that is coming from the outside. Let's say the virus. So does that make sense? So, different ways to respond to those fears. I'll talk about that in a minute. The third fear, probably our deepest fear, is what we call the fear of unknown, or the fear of death, or the fear of things, just ending, the uncertainty that is prevailing right now in the atmosphere around the world. And in these situations, we need to understand that it's a brush with death. There are people that are dying already, and it is really scaring us. And we are also responding to the first kind of fear, which is kind of a healthy response. The second kind, more of a reactivity response. The third kind is, also very prevalent. It's there. It's in the back of our mind. We're thinking about it. And here we can freeze. Here we can sort of go numb. Here we can really even get to a 9 or 10 or 11 or 12 kind of fear. So how do we then, in the thick of everything that's going on, find some stillness and find some clarity and some ground and some strength? Well, good question, right? The first thing is you want to think about is your self-care. You want to make sure your self-care is very good right now. In fact, the louder the threat, the more self-care you need. Because you want to be responding to the track of love as opposed to the track of fear. We need to keep our ears to the track of who we really are and the strength and the hero and the heroine that's inside of us that knows how to handle this, knows how to handle the fear from a grounded, strong place, can tackle things, can really do the right thing and contribute and do what needs to be done for ourselves, our family, and our community. And that's the track we need to have our ear on. Not the other track that's running right beside it, which is the track of fear. If we're listening only to the track of fear and our attention is only on that, we're oscillating back and forth into these 3 different kinds of fears. And, fear begets more fear. So we need to somehow be, the way I describe it is channel 1, we respond to the fear that is really, it's there, it's defined. We can't be spiritually dissociating and pretending that that's not there. What we need to be doing is recognizing that we could have the virus, we need to social distance, and we need to be smart about our elders, because even if we believe that it's not there, we need to be acting according to a good and healthy response and contribution. I made the mistake the other day of putting my arm on an elder friend of mine who I hadn't seen in a while, and he said, hey, and he was absolutely right. I wasn't with the program. So channel 1, we need to be healthy and strong and doing the right thing and responding in that way. And this is what I'm going to underline, and we also need to be responding and being able to respond from a place of grit and strength and courage and boldness even from the second level, the channel 2, which is it's almost like we have to travel, we have to decide if we're going to travel with love right now or we're going to travel with fear. If we travel with love, I'm going to say if we journey with love as opposed to traveling with fear. If we're journeying with love, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to feel the fear. We're going to do the right thing anyway, and we're not going to get so triggered because our self-care is good. Makes sense, right? But if we're traveling with fear, well, that is challenging, and it's going to get more challenging. So I hope that's helpful. If you have any questions about this, I'm trying to describe this in a way that's helpful for the current situation. Obviously, if you're in the deep end of really having that brush with death, because it's very real and imminent, and you have elders in your family, and you have very young children, you know, that are just being born, we probably need to have some conversations, right? Obviously, there's some challenges there. If you're in the middle camp, absolutely you need to reach out. You need to be really smart about taking care of yourself and doing what you can. And then in the first camp, this is just, you're going to end up more in this first camp of a good, healthy responses if your self-care is really positive. I hope this is helpful. Any questions, please get a hold of me. Bye for now.